Hey everybody, my name is Kyle Knott and I am not your average finance guy. This YouTube channel is dedicated to the hardworking men and women, and we're trying to get you to take back control of your money. This is the stuff they never taught us in high school, and I have been passionate about this my whole life. I have been reading books and YouTube videos and everything I could find, and I just want to pass some of this stuff along. So today what I wanted to do is I know there's a guy out there who's a big entertainer in the financial space. His name's Dave Ramsey. And his 7 baby steps, I kind of started to go through back early in the day, and I kind of got to a point. I got through quite a few of them, but it just didn't make any sense to me to keep on going the way he had them all spelled out. So today let's take a look at the 7 baby steps, and this is kind of what I did. And I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm telling you that there are more options out there. You don't have to follow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right down the line. Now, this is really good for some people. If you're just buried in credit card debt and just continue to load those credit cards up, then go ahead and follow the Dave Ramsey method. There's nothing wrong with it. It will work. If you follow the velocity banking, the infinite banking ways, it's the same outcome, but way faster than the way he's doing it. So let's take a look here. And I just went on his website. I think it's like ramseysolutions.com or something. So here's his 7 baby steps. And I kind of went through this and marked it up a little bit. So step 1, save $1,000 in your starter emergency fund. Okay, that is a great idea. You need something. Okay, so get $1,000 and go ahead, open up a savings account in a bank. If you've got $1,000, you put it in there. This is meant for emergencies. Now, don't just think because I have $1,000 in the bank that I can go on vacation or whatever. That is for emergencies only. This is for stuff that you don't foresee coming, that you don't budget for. It's the stuff like when your transmission goes out in your car. Granted, $1,000 probably isn't going to do it, but it's going to help. So that's number 1. Let's get that in there. I agree with Dave on that one. Step 2 is where I start to differ. Step 2, he says, pay off all debt except the house using the debt snowball. I say pay off high interest debt using velocity banking. Now, high interest debt is usually credit card debt, right? Most credit cards are like 20 to 30%. That's nuts. We got to get out of that credit card debt. Pay off all debt. If you got a car or like an auto loan at one of these cheap, ridiculous rates, 0.9%, I wouldn't pay that off. This is me. If you got it for a 5-year term on that, that's not that much interest. You're not, the price of money is pretty cheap on that. I would consider just go ahead and using that term and pay it off. Now, I get it if you want out of that, whatever that loan payment is. I know some of them can get pretty darn high now. There's vehicles going for twice as much as what I paid for my first house. So I get it. If you want to go there, by all means, go for it. But I definitely, let's get rid of that high interest credit card debt, first and foremost. His step 3, once you're out of all debt except for the house, is to save 3 to 6 months of expenses in a fully funded emergency fund. Okay, that's awesome. You go through your budget and you list out all of your expenses. That's on my website. I'll try to put a link in here, something free resource. But you go through, you list out all of your expenses, so you know what comes in and you know what comes out. So hopefully you got more coming in, in the month, and you got a little bit less coming out. And there's a little bit cash flow left there for the extras. So that's what he's saying. Take that extra and put that off into a savings account, and make sure you get 3 to 6 months of expenses. Well, if you've got $5,000 a month in expenses, he's saying $15,000 to $30,000 he wants to plunk into a savings account, making 0.5% interest. Like, to me, you're losing money. Why would you dump all that money in there when you can see what I've got there? At that point, you should get a cash value whole life insurance policy. So now what you do is you take and you slowly build up. It can be a 3 to 6 months expenses in a fully funded. This can be your emergency fund. This will be your kids' college fund. This can be your pay off your house fund. This can be your new auto loan fund. This is everything. Okay. Why not start? He's got step 7, build wealth and give. Hell, let's start that in step 3. If you get this cash value whole life policy going, the earlier the better. It's kind of like when was the best time to plant a tree? Well, it was 50 years ago. The best time, or the next best time, is today, right? Same thing with insurance policy. The sooner you get going on this stuff, the sooner it'll work its magic. Okay. Step 4: invest 15% of your household income in retirement. Okay, so what I've got is put at least 15% into your policy and take loans from it to invest. So if you keep dumping, if you max fund your policy, the first couple years, it takes a little bit to get going. It's kind of like an airplane, you know, you're at the end of the runway and you're at a dead stop and they're full throttle and it just starts moving real slow. But as you get going down the runway farther, you get going faster and faster, and it just kind of everything gets lighter, and that's when you take off. So it takes a little bit, it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of power to get this thing moving, but once it's flying, man, you're flying, you're taking off. So the step 4 is what I would do is I would take that 15% that you would have put into maybe an investment of some sort, max fund that life insurance policy, and then you have access to this money. Now take it out and invest it. You take whatever you've got in investments there, and then whatever you made, you can either pay yourself back on the insurance fund, or you just keep compounding and let it going. See, that's where we're working at 2 places at once when you've got this policy and the investments going. So step 5, save for your children's college fund. Okay, this one is huge. What if they don't go to college? Okay, I'm talking to a lot of people in the trades here that are making a great living. They got paid to go through an apprenticeship program, and in 4 or 5, 6 years, whatever it is that they're out of the apprenticeship program, they're making damn good money. Where you look at some of these college kids that studied whatever kind of bullshit degree they got. Now, well, look at me, I got my degree and my liberal arts degree. Well, okay, that's great. Where are you going to work? And they're the barista at Starbucks and complaining about absolutely everything, and they're $150,000 in debt. Okay, with no real skills. I don't know. I went to college. I'm not bashing it, but I'm not going to force my kids to go. If they want to go and maybe be an engineer or a CPA or a lawyer, or really they're focused in on something that they want to do that you do need an actual college degree for. Otherwise, I don't really see much of a point in a lot of it. You come in, it costs so damn much money, you come out in a ton of debt, but that I guess that's another story. But Dave's got you saving for your children's college fund. You know, if you throw that into a 529 plan, that money comes out of your paycheck tax-free. It grows tax-free, but it has to be spent on education. What if they don't go to college? That's what worried me. I actually set up a 529 plan for each of my 4 kids. One kid went through community college, got his associate's degree, and that's it. He said, college is not for me. And it was a couple years before that, like, shit, what if everyone doesn't go? I don't want to put all this money away. And yes, it grows tax-free and it's got all the benefits, but if they don't go to college, then I just basically pissed it away, or I got to go to college or take some classes or figure out how to spend it, right? So that was my biggest takeaway. Now, if say you don't do the 529 plan, but you do dump it into this insurance policy, which right now is making like over 6%. I think it's 6.64% or something is what my policy made last year. So it's not the best in the world, but it's good money. And now that isn't guaranteed. I think it's guaranteed. Mine is guaranteed at like almost 3%. It's guaranteed. It will not go down. It's not volatile. It's guaranteed money. It can only go up if they pay the dividends, which they have paid every year since basically the Civil War. So you're going to get some more on top of that too. But the college fund, when they're looking for the FAFSA, they don't look at the cash value of your life insurance. They say that's just insurance. That's something else. They don't look at that as your assets. So what they do in the FAFSA, they look at all your assets, how much you make, what you're worth, and they say, okay, well, you're going to pay this much for college and you can get this much in grants and all that. That's another good way to kind of a store of money for college, is to have it in your cash value life insurance. That way the government doesn't really look at it on your FAFSA, and you can get some more help from the government maybe. Step 6, pay off your home early. If you want to, go for it. I've got my mortgage is at 3%. I am not going to pay my mortgage off early at 3%. Okay, kind of goes back to the earlier step where I mentioned if you've got a auto loan at there's some 0.9 auto loans out there, some 0% probably yet, and if you're not paying anything on that, why pay it off early? I guess it frees up a little bit more cash flow every month, but in my eyes, I'm off early. It's a low enough rate. Now, some will argue that it's because it's amortized loan that I'm paying on my house for 30 years. that even though it's only 3%, that I am front loading all the interest. So that I am doing, and I realize that. I don't know if and when I'll probably move in 7, 10 years, whatever, like everyone else does. I just don't know. I can't see that yet, but I'm not going to give up that 3% money, that cheap money. I could throw a little bit extra at it, but what I would do with my extra money is I invest it. I try to make more. I think instead of paying off a 3% loan, that I can invest it somewhere else at, maybe 10, 12, 15. I've had investments. I bought a house once. I was making over 50% on it. I got it real cheap. So there are better ways out there. So I wouldn't worry about hammering down that, that's just me though. That other people like, hell no, I'm doing this and I'm getting out of debt and I can't take it. I don't want any more payments. And cool. That's what this channel is for. This is for you, your decisions, and it's your money. You decide what to do with it. Okay. So if you max fund this insurance policy, when you get to this point of Dave Ramsey's baby step number 6, you can look over there, and if you've been paying, a lot of times we do velocity banking, and a lot of the scenarios I've run, people are coming up with an extra $2,000 of cash flow every month. If you take that extra $2,000 that you are now out of paying all this debt, and you dump that into a cash value life insurance policy, you have access to that money at any time. Let that grow, let that build, take some out, invest it, whatever you do. By the time you get to number 6, there might be enough in there for you to pay your house off. Boom, one stroke. And you say, I want this money. I would say you owe $200,000. You get $200 in your policy. They will send you a check in a day or two. It's in your bank, and you can go and you can pay off your loan just like that. Okay. Maybe you want to take some bigger chunks. Maybe you want to take a $20,000 chunk from your policy and put it onto your home and help accelerate do the kind of the velocity banking with your mortgage. And that's cool. You have these options, you have these choices. Maybe now, I know rates now where people are buying houses maybe 7-8%. Now there, I understand that's hard to get an investment that's going to make, more than that. So on that, I might really think about trying to knock that down and get out of that debt. Totally agree. So you've got options. And then number 7, build wealth and give. Why wait till the end? In my mind, we started that way back up in baby step 3. Okay. Baby step 3 is kind of where we just put everything together. We get into this policy, and this policy keeps growing. And the big thing about an infinite banking, this cash value whole life insurance policy, which is the infinite banking concept, is that whole bunch of money that you put in there continues to grow. It's not like a savings account where if you've got $100 in, just cheap, easy math. If you got $100 in the bank and you take $100 out and go out for dinner, you now have nothing left in the bank. It's gone, right? You took the 100 out. Where if you've got a whole life insurance policy and you take 100 out, and you can go out for dinner, whatever you want to do with that $100, it still grows as if you have $100 in there. So even though it's 6.5% or whatever it is, it's not the best, but it's better than a kick in the teeth. It's better than inflation. So whatever that is, that continues to grow. All right. And then yes, you at some point have to pay that back. And if you don't pay it back, it just comes off your death benefit at the end when you die. So your beneficiaries get a little bit less. But I would always recommend to pay that policy loan back. That way you can keep doing this and keep doing this. Now, I'd never take a policy loan for $100 to go out for dinner. What I take my policy loans for would be down payments on rental properties. So I haven't done it in a little while, but what I did for I probably bought 5 or 6 rental properties like that. I would, put everything in and get my cash value going. And as soon as I had about $25,000 that I had access to, I would take a loan out of my cash value. I would put a down payment on a rental property. And yes, I would get a mortgage on that, a 30-year mortgage. Back in the day, it was, between 4 and 6%. So, and then as soon as I would take that cash flow from there and I would put it back in my policy, build it back up. As soon as I had enough for another down payment, I'd buy another cash flowing property. Hopefully that kicks off another couple $100. And now I got double the cash flow coming back in, and it just keeps rolling and keep rolling. So how rates are all out of whack. The economy is very different from where it was back then. It was like shooting fish in a barrel, but that's where we're at now. That's what I did, and that's just what I want to do is get this out, get this word out to you guys, and let you know there are other things out there. There are other things possible. You don't have to follow Dave Ramsey's step 1 through 7. It works. I won't bash it, but I don't want to wait until I'm 90 years old before I can build wealth and give after my house is already paid off. I'm starting that earlier. So, all right. I hope this helps. If you got any questions, please give me a call, give me an email, whatever you got to do. Comment on this, and I hope I can help you and take our life back and stop being a slave to the banks. Good luck, everybody.